Hypixel Skyblock has some ridiculous challenges. Dungeons Floor 7, 29 minion slots, Melody's hair. For sweats of the game, these are no secret. There are many videos on how to do these tricks, but there's one challenge which has eluded players since the game was released. There have been many attempts by numerous players. Admins of the game have given hints along the way, and countless theories have been devised to complete the trick. But this year has shown progress beyond anything seen before it, with precise movement that's almost impossible to pull off, game-altering bugs, and a few unrelenting players fighting the impossible. This is the story of the Great Skyblock Bounce. To start off, we need to talk about slime blocks. There are many slime blocks in Hypixel Skyblock, but they don't all act the same. The main way to get through areas in the game is to step on launch pads that propel you between islands. These launch pads are made of slime blocks, but act as a sort of TNT cannon. You'll find these launch pads all over the map for players to get around. In fact, the slime blocks at this gate were intended to have the same properties, but the game was released before the island behind it was added, leaving it an unused section of the map. And without a destination for the slime blocks to propel the player, they remained regular slime blocks, meaning you could bounce. The question was, how high could you bounce? It started out with people jumping from the top of the gate onto the slime block and trying to get back onto the top, but no one really got close. A few months passed and no one made progress on the jump. Then, a player named Ramirez had a new idea. He had already completed most of the game's updates and wanted another challenge. After a few minutes of trying the jump, he made an unthinkable discovery. He looked backward. On the other side of the gate was another slime platform, only this one was one block closer. The front slime platform is 2 blocks in from the edge of the gate, however the slime platform on the back is only 1 block in from the edge. This was the first key step into the new age of the bounce. The second step was the end update. The end update added dragon fights, new armors and zealots, but the only thing we care about for this trick is the aspect of the end, a sword that teleports the player 8 blocks forward in the direction they are facing. Before now, people would jump off the top of the gate, and on the rare occasion they actually hit the slime platform, they wouldn't get enough height to get back up to the top. People used jump potions and grappling hooks, but it was never enough. Now with this new item, people could teleport upward into the sky and have a massive velocity increase, having just enough energy to be reflected back onto the top of the dungeon gate. But there was a problem. The faster the player goes, the harder it is to do the trick. Since the slime block is in line with the top of the dungeon gate, you have to start falling outside the gate, then move forward to hit the slime block and immediately move backwards so that you don't hit the roof of the gate. The timing is intensely precise. This might look somewhat easy, just move 1 pixel forward then 1 pixel back. Surely there's enough time for that, right? Well, a player by the name of Dragonian45 tried just that. Biggest bounce of all time. I call this the Big Bounce Bonanza Booyah Extreme. What the fuck? He landed perfectly on the slime block, but didn't bounce. Why? Well, if you land on the corner of a block in Minecraft, the game checks where the center of the player model is. In this case, it's on the block next to the slime. Therefore, there's no bounce. And if you stop falling suddenly, you take full damage. And so, Dragonian45 died right there. You must have at least 50% of your player model on the slime block to bounce. So to make this jump, you need to move a total of 1 block horizontally with a change of direction, all in under a second. Luckily, there were some major discoveries about to be made. The dungeon update released onto Skyblock. Everyone expected the dungeon gate to finally be open, making these slime blocks just a bunch of launch pads to the dungeon hub, no bounce possible. The morning of the update came and dedicated speedrunners logged on to find the dungeon hub was just here in a cave and nothing had happened to the gate, which is undeniably good for the community, but it begs the question of why. Why this massive gate? Why 2 giant stone guards in front of it? Had the admins seen this trick being performed and left it be just for us? There wasn't time to answer these questions because a new development had just been discovered. A potato with 900 million damage, 1 quintillion coins, and this. Hypixel Skyblock Sandbox server. A new server was created, a sandbox version of Hypixel Skyblock. The main feature that we care about is that it had creative mode, with flying. This meant that people could fly above the gate and line up perfectly for the jump, also getting the maximum height possible, allowing for the highest possible bounce. There were only 2 hours before a player called Sophie Jenkins 98 logged on, and then this happened. They'd done it. Bounced from the slime block right onto the dungeon gate. But they weren't even that high, you might be saying, and I was also confused when I first saw this. As it turns out, this jump was far from optimal. It was very different to all the attempts before it. It was believed that the best method would be to get as close to the edge as possible and move forward as soon as you pass the top of the gate, but what they weren't considering was momentum. As soon as you start moving in Minecraft, you take a bit of time to speed up. You accelerate for a short time before reaching maximum speed. What Sophie Jenkins 98 had done was start the forward momentum before reaching the top of the gate, and once below the gate was already going fast forward, which means they reached the 50% above the block much earlier. Meaning they could start the backwards movement sooner. It takes some time to stop going forward and begin the backward movement. It was timed so that when Sophie hit the block, they were instantly moving backwards, barely giving enough time to clear the top of the gate. A new method had been discovered, but the challenge wasn't done yet. The top of the gate had been reached, but there was still the title to be claimed, highest bounce of all time. Speedrunners scrambled to their PCs to get the record for themselves. Everyone felt they had a real chance. If they used Sophie Jenkins' method but started much higher, they could do it. There were talks of a TAS in the works, but they couldn't figure out how to install it properly. I don't get it. What's happening, Mom? It was agreed that any attempt made on the Sandbox server was just a practice run. It had bugs galore and it was hard to tell if it functioned the same as the regular server, so all real attempts were to be made online on the official Skyblock server. Then, on the 23rd of February 2021, something happened. A player teleporting to the top of the map to perform the fall found themselves suddenly at the bottom of the map. Usually when you teleport to the top of the map, there is an invisible wall of blocks at the height limit of 255, meaning the player would be at 254, one block below. But now that players were coming from an angle outside, they had managed to go outside of the wall in the sky. If the player was at block 253 and then used the aspect of the end, they teleport 8 blocks upward, leaving them at the height of 261. This isn't an acceptable height. To fix this problem, the game takes 255 from the player's height, and they are left at a height of 6, at the very bottom of the map. This process is called wrapping, and is useful in many speedruns, including Mario 64 and
parallel universes.
At first, this didn't seem useful. You could get back to the same place by only going up, but that doesn't mean you can bounce any higher. Unless you could wrap downward. If you reach a high value that's higher than 255, the game will minus 255 from it. But if you reach a value of less than 0, around negative 0.1, it will add 255 to it, meaning that if you teleport just below 0 height, the game will teleport you to a height of 255, higher than the previous thought highest point of 254. Without the invisible wall, you could get exactly 1 block higher, which might not seem like much, but in the speedrunning world, every millisecond and every millimeter counts. With 1 more block, the falling speed is slightly higher, and the bounce will be higher. We just needed someone to pull it off. Me. I joined the ring and started practicing the trick. After 7 hours of failed attempts, this happened. I teleported exactly to a height value of 255. This is currently the greatest possible bounce in Hypixel Skyblock. If someone could create a portal-like infinite loop to gain more speed, perhaps it could be improved. But this is where the bounce record stands for now.